Machine for real fishing. Here we are, January 30th, 2023. So I'm out at Sunset Point today, getting my fish on. I'm seeing some fish on my radar here, but let me get the report out of the way. So it was about -16 last night. There's very fine snow coming down right now. Visibility is not great. You can't see the islands from here, but you can see, the next hut's over. I haven't fished too much out here at Sunset Point. Just sort of walked out after my shift here and tried to pick a spot that was between a couple of huts. Not like between a couple of huts, like they're right there. I just mean like 100 yards that way is a hut, 100 yards that way is a hut. And my Navionics was saying that it was 10 feet here, but it's actually 14 and a half. Anyway, the ice right here is 15 inches. So that's really cool. I was expecting, 11, 12, but 14. There's definitely some spots out there that I walked past where I could see people had got their vehicles jammed up in slush. Like some holes where you could tell they really spun their tires into. And right now, I found that the ground was quite firm underneath the foot. But of course, I was walking out, right? So not the weight of a truck. I'm not a small guy, but I don't weigh that much. you know, so I saw a few snowmobiles as well, and people are parked all on the ice out here near the entrance. So there's definitely enough ice for people to park on the lake. But I don't see any trucks out here. I see snowmobiles, and that's it. No trucks driving on the lake. Although I thought I saw on the trail that they've made here, I thought I saw what looked like tire marks spread out. So somebody must have been driving. And I guess if you got 14 inches here or 15 inches here, then that's pretty good. It's just the slush that's the issue. So far, looking at my holes, I can tell you that the water is coming up still. I didn't like punch through into any kind of slush though, and I got to really see how badly the batteries on my drill get affected by the cold because I left it out in my truck for the night. And when I tried to drill holes here, it just didn't have the gusto that it usually has. So Bill D told me that he was out on the west arm there. Bill D, if you're watching, how are you doing? He was out on the west arm there, and he said the fishing was half decent, but it got so wet on top of the ice that they had to call it in early, which is really unfortunate. But that seems to be the way this lake is going this year. It's just slush everywhere. But I haven't got caught in it too much. My brother was talking about showing up on Thursday with his snowmobile, and I'm not really too sure if it's going to be real slushy by then or if it's going to be firmed up, because there is still a few days between now and then. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's the report part of this. That's out of the way. So now I'm just going to be fishing. Now I did see something come in on the fish finder here, but it left, and that was while I was busy setting up. For some of you guys who might have been watching earlier, you might have seen me go live for like 2 seconds, and I didn't have my phone set up properly. I just was half asleep, hit the live button, and there was also a fish on my radar distracting me. That's my excuse. So anyway, I managed to accidentally kill all of my minnows, but I do have a bunch of salted minnows that I'm using today, garlic flavor. So I'm hoping those pan out for me. I have on the one side, which is my dead stick, is a minnow head on a sparkly jig, and on my right side here I have the magic bean, which is just like a little bean with a blade on the back and a treble hook. They're pretty sweet. So I'm just gonna go through some of the messages here. Let's see, people are chatting. Mantra Fishing, welcome to the party. Andrew Thomas, thanks for the good luck. T Bishop, yeah, I was, as far as you say, good to see you out fishing. Let's see some fish. I feel the same way. One of my former neighbors there sent me a picture, or I guess it was his cousin sent me a picture of this huge wally he caught out on the lake a couple days back. Um, I forget where he said it was one of the islands out there, and yeah, he said it was 31 inches. I'm just like, wow, that's a big daddy. It looked very very wide. Um, COD WW2. Hey Coke, how's it hanging? Where's the whitefish spots and calendar? Whitefish? The only whitefish I ever caught on Nipissing here was out by the Manitou Islands out there. I hear that there's sort of a unicorn on this lake. I was pretty proud of myself. It was a big fish. I mean, I just had a minnow, the classic rig, treble hook, split shot, and a minnow on a jaw jacker, and that's what I caught him on. But we were in 40 feet of water, so I'm gonna say if you can find 40 feet out by calendar, then maybe you might find one. Dave Parent, what's up? Jeff, nice to see you. Eugen, thanks for the good luck. Brian Feeney, your pops was born at the old Smith Mill. Old Smith Mill, eh? I've only been in North Bay for 10 years now. Where was Old Smith Mill? Steve Paulus, thanks for the good luck. Joseph Walsh, thanks for the good luck. You're heading to calendar this weekend, eh? Are you fishing on your own or with an outfitter out there? Pat LeBlanc, thanks for the good luck. John Porter, thanks for the good luck. I'm definitely hoping to see more fish here. Oh, I think. Oh, no. Nope. No. I thought I was seeing something, but I wasn't. I'll turn my camera around in a second here so you guys can see my screen. What's going on, Dave? What's up, Eric? When are you going to be down in the GTA area again? We should hit up Bay of Quinte. I would love to hit Bay of Quinte. I've heard so many great things, and I've only fished it open water style. I've never done the ice fishing thing. I see so many pictures of massive fish down there. As far as going down to Toronto is concerned, it's funny because I'm just going to say that the whole COVID lockdown stuff just sort of made me sort of forget about going down there. Not because I don't want to go down there. It's just like, you get so used to this, you got to stay in one spot game that you forget, like, oh yeah, I know a whole lot of people down in Toronto, and there's a whole lot of people I haven't seen in a very long time that I should really see, and people that I'd love to introduce to my son. So one day, I don't know if it's going to be in the winter here. I've got so many things on the go as far as winter, this winter is concerned. I'm going to be out with my brother and his buddy who I haven't seen in a few years due to COVID, and his other buddy who I haven't seen in probably 10 years. We're going to be going to, I think is it Lake Nipissing Ice Fishing Charters? I think that's the plan. Anyway, Tyler Jones, catch the big one today. I hope so. I'd love to see a really big pike. That'd be great. Right on Calendar Bay, eh? Joseph Walsh says, me and my brother heading up Friday night with your own equipment. Are you going to be camping on the ice? It seems like this year, this is really happening a lot, is I'm seeing a lot of people camping on the ice. I'm going to actually release a video of how my brother sets up like a wood stove inside a pop-up hut. I'll probably release that like soon. Like, could be, it's already uploaded. I just need to like press the button. So maybe at the end of this broadcast, that'll be something I do. We'll see. But it's kind of nifty using a wood stove in a tent, and my brother goes through the pros and cons. It seems like it's a lot of work because you got to get the wood in there, but it's got that smell, that smell of burning wood that's really nice. But a lot of people are camping out. It seems like it's less of a weird idea. Yeah, Dave, we'll figure something out in the future there. We'll see what we can do. Corey, you got the ice hut out, so you still had heavy slush out there in Yellick, eh? Jeff, you're asking, do I ever look at solar lunar clock fishing times? I occasionally peer at them. Mostly I just try to fish when I can fish. And sometimes I look at the solar lunar stuff and I think, oh, actually that day was a great day, and this thing said it should have been a crappy day. So I don't know if I buy that stuff or not. I'm sure there's some fish wizards out there though that probably, they're like, there's no point in even fishing today. The solar lunar clock's all messed up. Okay. Joseph Walsh, you're going to try to get the morning bite coming from Mississauga. So let's see, when does the sun come up now? It's always changing, eh? It's is it later? Is it earlier? I should know since I work nights. I watch the sun come up and watch it go down. So I'm gonna say what? 7 a.m. So Corey, you say you got 100 feet of slush past it's no solid slush. That's good to know. I was talking to your uncle Ray there, and he was telling me that he got his hut out 6K. He didn't have too many problems with the slush, but I guess he said he's got that super light hut going. So you say there's a minor time coming at 11:01. I'm gonna say it's gonna be perch coming in at 11:01. Unfortunately, I will not be able to be here. I'm probably gonna wrap this up at 10:30. That's my plan. Which reminds me, I think I'm just gonna plug in an extra battery here. The sweet part about being inside this hut is that I don't really need my microphone set up because there's no wind to interrupt my signal here, so my mic plugs into the same place the battery power plugs in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wire this thing up. That should make sure I don't run out of juice this time. Looks like I was doing pretty good, still had 33. All right, I realize I've had this camera on me this whole time. I'll try to switch it up back and forth for fun. I don't know what's more exciting. What would be ultimately more exciting would be catching fish, But you guys can watch my radar there. I think there's a way. Yeah, there we go. So on the lower level there, if you can see it, that is my dead stick minnow. And on the upper level, lure flopping around there is one of these magic beans. Not sure what kind of fish went cruising through earlier. I realize I have an underwater camera. It's just sometimes you're just like, how many things am I gonna plug in today when I'm just fishing for an hour, But it's sometimes quite handy for trying to figure out what fish are down there looking at your stuff. So Brian Feeney, words of wisdom. Say, I found that I catch most fish when I go out fishing. Yeah, you're on to something, man. Yeah, me too. You got to fish if you're gonna catch fish, you know. Yeah. So I don't have my sweet boots out. I think it's still about negative 11 right now. So I got big woolly socks on, but they're definitely um the boots are definitely not great. I got a couple of really great boots that I had some companies send me there that I did reviews on last year. Like my Nats boots are great for this, and then Bass Dash boots. They were a clone of the Arctic Pro by Mux. Those are really good boots too. I've never tried the Arctic Pro by Mux. I think Corey, that's what you use, eh? But the ones I have were Bass Dash, and they sent them to me to review, and I didn't think they would be great, but they actually are one of my favorite ice boots now. Unfortunately, I have a little buddy heater, and the problem is that when I moved, I stored a bunch of stuff in totes at my friend's house out in Bondfield, and I meant to go and collect my ice fishing heater from one of those totes, and just never got around to it. Here I am, probably in a moment when I could really use a heater, and I'm got cold feet. Snowmobile going past here. Now I'm gonna throw on one of these Simcoe bugs. I know lots of people are hyping them. I bought this guy last year. The one thing I noted about it is that it's extremely expensive. I think it was over $10 for this little guy. I know people love them. I'm gonna throw this guy down. I am tempted to whip out my fly tying kit and try to spin up a couple things like this, because I'd rather pay, like, I'm sure that's a tungsten ball at the front there, and the hook, you get tungsten balls are not cheap, but they're not that expensive, and then the hook is, that's a fairly cheap one to come by as well. So it gives me a chance to tie up another fly. But I did find these do work quite well for perch and so forth. On Facebook there, I forget what group it was. It was like Stocked Trout or something. And occasionally people get into these like group conversations, and I get added to it. I don't know. I'm not sure how. But they were talking about how to catch rainbow trout through the ice. And one guy, like I was learning some things. I'm not really too good at catching trout through the ice. I probably don't spend a lot of time trying, but the guy swore by using like little nymph flies 10 feet below the ice in 40 feet of water. And that's how he caught rainbow trout. And he had all sorts of pictures of the fish he was catching in these stocked lakes. The end of the month here, I'm planning on going down to Lake Rosso to get into some lake trout down there. It's been a very long time. My buddy has a cottage down there, and last time we went, we usually catch a bunch of Lakers. And I've been watching a few fantastic videos on how people catch them through the ice. They're a fun species to catch for sure. Like even in the summertime, I like jigging them up. Dave Parent, he says you got use the traditional or the flasher on your Striker 4. I was using the flasher, and then through doing live streams over the last few years, people just recommended I have it set up the way I have it set up right now, which is like a traditional with what was it called? There's some sort of term for the little thing on the. Let me zoom you in here a little bit. Sorry, everything's frozen in here. Okay, so there's the main traditional thing on the left there, and then the part on the right is called something scope. Apologize, I kind of half asleep here, but it's some kind of a setting that allows you to see, you know, your lure going up and down, and then I guess on the left there you see the history of if anything slipped past you without you knowing. So I've been using that setup for a few years now, and it works out pretty good. Jimmy 2 liter. Let's know more about Coke Machine. What do you do for a living? What area do you live around the lake? What is your favorite spot to ice fish versus summer fishing? All right, here it comes. So Jimmy 2 liter, I work with people with disabilities, all sorts of different kinds of disabilities, being autism, Down syndrome, schizophrenia, mental health, developmental delays, physical handicaps, or disabilities, pardon me. And that's what I've done for the last 23 years. 23 years. I first got a job as like a groundskeeper at a group home for people with autism, and I got to meet all the different people, and they were so interesting, and such interesting people that I just sort of fell in love with the field and stuck to it. And I work nights now, but I used to work full-time days and whatnot in Toronto, and up here I worked part-time for most of the time I've been up here. And then the only job I could get full-time at the time was a nights position working at a group home. And then once I got doing the nights position, I realized that there was a lot of downtime during the nights where I started doing different courses in, like, I had already done quite a bit of video editing stuff in the past, but I did, you know, extra courses in After Effects and Photoshop and Illustrator and all these different things. And I was doing all these courses and made a couple of YouTube channels, and then that allowed me to actually start doing the ice reports on a fairly regular basis, because I would not have the opportunity to do that if I didn't have that downtime on the nights. Because where I work, you have probably about 2 hours of cleaning stuff up and whatnot, and then after that everybody's sleeping, so you gotta sort of be quiet and just be there to make sure everybody's sleeps well and stays healthy during the night. Make sure there's any kind of emergencies are dealt with. So that's my job now. And there's been a few opportunities to get full-time days again, but then I've just stuck to the nights because of my opportunities to work on projects and whatnot. Now, as far as what area do I live around the lake, I used to live in the Yellock area, and then I moved into town here this past fall, because the scoop was that my landlord wanted to turn my apartment that I've been living in for 10 years into an Airbnb, and then there wasn't much I could do about it. So we had to move. So I moved into town now, and I'm actually maybe 10 minutes away from the lake. You know, close to, I guess you would say, the close to the Sobeys in town. And as far as my favorite spot to ice fish, I used to really enjoy ice fishing in the Yellick area there, and I haven't really fished too many other places because I lived right there, and I just sort of would pick different spots around where I lived because it was just so easy to get to. And now I'm trying to figure out new spots to get to that are not too far for me to drive, but I still have yet to try the southern part of the lake where there's a lot more structure and whatnot. And as far as summer fishing, all along the North Shore, I really enjoy just trolling around in my canoe when the lake's flat and picking up. It was different, like in the opening days of the season, the wallies are pretty shallow, so you get out there at a sunset and just pull stuff in 8 feet of water, and all of a sudden you start catching all kinds of wallies. And then as the summer goes on, the bass start coming in, and the drum, and you gotta love those bass and drum. Good morning, Bernie. Welcome to the party. Nader. Nader, the ice is thick, 15 inches. So we're doing pretty good here. Stacy Gregory, welcome to the party. Yeah, I'll be heading down there as soon as I can. I guess you said you'd be there around 9:30, so I'll be delivering. Stacy is the winner of this year's ice thickness prize, so I'm gonna be getting down there to deliver it tomorrow. She's coming up. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people. In this area here at Sunset Point. Like, there's a lot of huts out here, so I haven't been to Calendar Bay in a little bit to see what the city looks like there, but I'm sure it's quite busy now. Last time I was there, it was starting to pick up. All right, I'm gonna try another lure here. Yeah, it was starting to pick up in Calendar Bay, but out here it's definitely, like, I'm gonna make a guess that there's got to be like 80 ice huts out here. It is really popping out here this year. All right, let's throw down. Throw down a dinner bell. I'm going to put on a Gulp Alive worm on it. It matches the color. Don't know if that's going to help me at all. But the other day I had this, there's some sort of fake earthworms, and my son wanted me to put it on, and I was thinking to myself, like, I don't know, I'd rather put on a minnow, some sort of Gulp Alive earthworm that was floating in some, the juice. And sure enough, as soon as I threw the thing down, I caught nice juicy jumbo. So I guess when you don't have any live minnows, it doesn't hurt to throw on a Gulp Alive or a salted minnow. I'm getting lots of ice on here. Okay. All right. So I got the dinner bell, chartreuse. Should have shown it to you before I threw it down, but so Bernie, you say you caught a few walleye over the weekend, eh? But no keepers, no perch. I'm seeing a lot of big fish coming out of the lake this year. pretty wild. Yeah, there you go. Andrew Thomas and Terry, the A scope. Yeah, that's how I have it set up, with the A scope, which I think is like, I recall that you had to go into some special setting to set it up, but it wasn't impossible. So Dave, you like the flasher mode better? I mean, my brother has, I forget what he has yet. He's gone through a few different fish finders there and flashers. I forget what he has. Something fancier than a Striker 4. Right on. So Diffie, you're a client for Community Living North Bay. Right on. Brian Feeney, thanks for thanking me. I was thinking about, if I had continued the ice reports on a day-to-day basis, because the viewership starts dropping pretty drastically once the ice finishes up. But I also run out of steam as far as making ice reports is concerned, and I also want to fish. So, so I always wonder if I continued on with the day-to-day reports, if I'd still. I think some of my last reports there had like 3,000 views. It's pretty wild, but it's tough keeping that pace. I tell you, anybody who does daily anything on any of the social media platforms it's a lot of work. So Joseph Walsh, you got the Garmin, like the Striker 4 for $169. That's what you're saying. That's an amazing deal. Do they not have the Striker 5 out now? I don't know. I probably won't even look until this machine breaks down. Andrew Thomas, you say you worked in group homes for 20 years with young offenders and youth treatment homes. Yeah, it is a rewarding field to work in for sure. I can imagine. I've never worked with young offenders or youth treatment homes, or in a youth treatment home, but I definitely I've worked in all sorts of different ones between Toronto and here. Yeah, I sometimes wish, we got paid a little better in this field. The problem with it is that with relatively, not so great pay, it's like there's a lot of staff turnover, unfortunately. And then as well, when inflation hits 8% and you get a 1% raise, you get just a little bit broker. So down at the south end, there's a good parking spot at Birch Grove and Sunset Cove. I think I know that spot. That's the spot where you can park on the lake, I think. I thought, did they not close some portion of that, or because they discovered it was private property, or is it still, or did they change the entrance to the spot, moved it away from the private property, and then have it open to the public? So Diffie, you're coming to Sunset Point on Tuesday. Eh? You gonna catch the morning bite or the evening bite? Glenn Williams, good morning. Yeah, Bernie, more snow, more slush. It's I gotta. Anybody who ice fishes knows that slush is pretty much the worst condition you can deal with. If you don't have the right boots for it, you're done for. Somebody told me, I think it was one of the guys who was contributing a lot during the ice reports, Jacques Magot there. He said that the fishing was on fire this weekend. I'm trying to think of where he's at. He's out. He's towards Sturgeon Falls, I think. So Glenn Williams, your wife rang the dinner bell Saturday. Did really well with it, eh? I've got like 4 of these things. I keep trying to give them a real good run. I think the key is I gotta find my spots. So Diffie, you're putting in the full day, eh? I assume you have a hut out here, because it's gonna be pretty chilly, pretty chilly tomorrow. Okay, so Jeff, you're saying there's a nice parking spot on land and a new opening to the lake. Well, that's good. Yeah, because did they do a survey or something and figured out it was on somebody's property? Yeah, yeah, Joseph Walsh. I hear that. It's like a lot of the people in my field. A lot of them will be like people who end up going into nursing and stuff like that later on down the pike, and they're sort of on their way through, so they get experience working with people with different abilities and whatnot, and then they move on and out of the field. Dave Parent, have a good day. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the good words. Oh, you're renting a shack off of Eves, Diffie. That's I got to meet Eves. He came out here when I was out there doing the live stream a couple Thursdays back, and he came in. I was trying to walk out, and he helped me out. Was fishing with some guys that were staying with him. Nice guy. Fixing and doing stuff. Good morning. How's life on your end? Andrew Thomas, you say you moved into management in the private sector, still with youth. Only way to make enough money to live. I tell you, there's so many opportunities that have come by where management positions pop up, and I don't know. Like here's here's the way I roll. I'm the kind of guy who's like pretty easygoing dude, if you can believe it, and I work or I don't work with now, but I have worked with in the past, like with lots of people who are like much more high strung, I guess I would say. And then they get into all sorts of issues with other people who are also high strung. And then the manager has to like deal with these people who are not so chilled out. And I can't imagine how much more stressful my life would probably be if I had to try to figure out other people's problems. I mean, like workers, right? Inter Interworker conflict would probably stress me out trying to deal with. It's like I like to sort of have a relatively low drama life. But I realized that I would definitely be making some more money if I got into the management side of this. Uh, Holmesy 2000. I do not know Hunters Bay very well, and I do not know where you can park. Um, but Bernie, if he's on here, might know because that's sort of his area. Unless I'm trying to think of where Hunters Bay is in relation to things. Yeah, I'd have to look at a map. Ryan Pisco Barnes, I have not seen trucks driving out, although I swear I saw some tire treads along the road they've built here. But I also saw a bunch of places where it was pretty obvious that people were getting stuck in the slush with vehicles, which I assume were probably trucks. So that's probably the thing that's slowing people down a little bit. Fixing and doing stuff, light snow in Waterford. No ice down here yet. Hitting Cooks again on Thursday. I've seen some nice perch coming out of Cooks Bay there on some of the fishing boards. Sativa C, thanks for the good words. I'll be releasing a bunch more videos that are just like, reviews of this or that, or, looking at my brother's stove for his hut. And I've got a few other videos that are, now sometimes there's one thing in a video and I'm like, oh, I should change that. And that can slow me down for a few weeks. Sometimes making videos is easy. Like when it's a nice report, it's all pretty straightforward. But when you're trying to make, trying to craft some videos, you can sometimes get hung up on stuff. Andrew Thomas. Yeah. Fishing's definitely a good way to relieve the stress of managing people, no doubt. So Bernie says, I think Fish Bay Marine will allow parking and access to the lake to Fish Bay and Hunters Bay, but they charge a fee to do so. Yeah, Diffie. It seems like the ice is definitely starting to thicken up here. Now, if we could only get it to freeze up this slush, but I guess more snow is just going to keep putting weight on it. But yeah, there's definitely some cold coming our way. Well, I can hear snow sliding off my hut here. Yeah, Jay, he says, thanks for letting us know more about your Coke. Feels like we know you better now. Good luck today. Yeah, the live streams sort of open up a lot more time for chatting about life. It's less, you got an hour of sitting here. I got a buddy who says he watches the live streams just so he can pretend he's hanging out with me. And I find that kind of charming. Eric Malecki. What are your thoughts about the weather on Thursday and Friday? A couple of us are coming up to stay in a bungalow. I think it'll be too cold. They heat those bungalows really well. You'll have your own big propane heater in there. I assume this isn't your first time coming to a bungalow. You're probably good to, like, I don't think I've ever seen pictures of people like bundled up in their bungalows. It's usually toasty enough to be wearing a t-shirt inside, so I'm gonna say you're gonna be good. Oh yeah, so you're catching lots in Cook's Bay there, eh? 6 jumbos. Yeah, 20 hook swallows, eh? Huh. That kind of sucks. So, I haven't looked at the weather report too much. So, okay, so Jeff here says that you're looking at negative 24 on Friday. It definitely, I've seen negative 40 here. I've done ice reports in negative 40. And once you get to negative 20, if you have a beard, it's sort of like gets like it's being dipped in liquid nitrogen. It's not the same as like a negative 10 will put ice on your beard, but negative 20 will make it pretty frosty. You look like Santa Claus by the end of the day. So negative 24 isn't too extreme. If if there's a strong wind, it's gonna make it a lot worse. But negative 24 that's not too bad. David Johnson, good morning. Yeah, Eric Malecki, you say it's your first time. Yeah, they'll take you in like a people mover to get to your hut, and usually that is it's not heated, but it's well, I don't know about all the guys, but people I've seen, the huts aren't heated, or the people mover isn't heated, so you'll need your snow pants on and whatnot in there, but they're sealed, so you're not gonna get too badly frozen, and then they'll take you right to the door of your hut, and then you'll hop in there. Sometimes they'll have the heat going already before you get there, or they'll turn it on as soon as you get in there. A lot of times they sometimes keep the heat running on super low just to keep the holes open. And then you guys will unload your stuff, get into your bungalow. The operator will probably turn up the heat, make sure the holes are clear, and then you guys will start fishing. Some of the operators will have like lines just like sort of tied up in the framing of things, like built into the hut. I assume I always just bring my own rods. Not that I go to operators a lot, but I've been to a few. And then you'll be in there nice and warm. Some operators even have heated toilets. I'm not sure which ones, but I've seen it. Most of the operators I've gone to, it's like an outhouse with a bag in the bottom. Okay, they're not fancy, but you got somewhere to go. And yeah, some people say they're heated. I'm trying to think. I feel like South River Resort, they had the washroom was like built in to the main hut, and then I think other places it was like an outhouse outside. But yeah, you shouldn't have to spend very much time outside if it's super cold. So Joseph Walsh, he said you used to be a supervisor and run a landscaping cruise. It made me more loud than I wanted to be. You're a quiet person. Had to get out of that. I hear that, man. I feel that. I it would be challenging for me to like really give somebody a hard time. It's like I'd rather be thinking about fishing than worrying about work related stuff. I can imagine. And I imagine you wouldn't feel too good about having to be the loud guy. Lana Shev, welcome to the party. So you're having the best fishing here in January on the north shore of Yellock, eh? Looks like I'm gonna have to make a trip out there on Thursday. My brother's here, and I'm not sure if we're gonna try the South Shore or if we're gonna go to Yellock there. I know we were supposed to go there this past weekend, but then my brother didn't want to have to set up a pop-up hut in the wind. It was on Saturday. We were gonna go visit Ray Jalacour out there. So Lana, I saw that you're running your own. Is it a nice bungalow out there? And you just have the one? Ken, catch a biggie. I hope so. I realize I'm gonna have to wrap it up in 10 minutes or so I can go to sleep. So maybe if you could send a big one in so I could finish this up. David Johnson hopefully can start driving out on the ice after this week. Yeah. It seems to be getting better and better, so hopefully the slush is the biggest pain right now. Like, standing in slush is a huge pain. I can only imagine what it is to get your vehicle stuck in it. I know my brother and I got stuck in a snowmobile on Rabbit Lake last year, and he had some sort of special gizmo that my dad and him had put together that made it somewhat easy to get out. Correction, not somewhat easy. You could get out an inch at a time. And it took hours for us to get out. It was brutal. So Joseph Walsh, you say, those positions change your personality. I can imagine. It's a stress I'm not really looking for. You know, I can't imagine. So Jeff says polar vortex will just touch this area for one day. That's it, eh? Eric Malecki, what operator are you going out with? Yeah, I remember Joseph. I remember one opening day walking out onto Calendar. It was probably one of the first years I was up here, and it was -30, and my buddy and I were walking directly into this extreme wind. And my buddy's the kind of guy, like I had a full floater suit on and everything, and my floater suit is it's really really warm, like too warm, like to the point where I don't like using it on a regular basis because you just start sweating in the darn thing. And my buddy's the kind of guy who's just like, yeah, I've got 2 pairs of jogging pants, I'm good. And he was almost to the point where he was ready to throw in the towel before we even set up. So Stacy, you say South Shore Ice Condos, they've got the heated potty, eh? That's awesome. That's good to know. When I go to my buddies on Lake Rosso, I'm going to be having to sit on a ice cold outhouse. I remember it before. Just say you go really fast, as fast as you can. Jeff, you say your buddy's coming up from Orangeville Sunday, eh? 4 days. You gonna be fishing in the Calendar area? Okay. So Lana, I'm just reading your messages here. So it's an 8x16, new and the only one this year, eh? So I assume you're going to expand that a little bit in the future. I mean, it's pretty, if you can get that booked up, you can get yourself some decent bones. Rick John, what operator do I recommend for overnight bungalows? I don't know all of the operators, but I can tell you that the people that I do know, or that I've been to their actual bungalows, would be South River Resort. they had me. I did a video with them a few years back, and I got to stay in one of their bungalows there, and it was great. I remember I've also used Rob's 5 Star Fishing when Rob Hyatt was running it. I hear it's fantastic still with the new operators. His huts were fantastic. Um, Otherwise, those are the only people I've uh, been out with. But there's lots of them out there, and I don't think I've heard any bad things about any of them. So I'm only recommending or suggesting those two because those are the ones I know. So February 28th, you're going out with South Shore Ice Condos, Jeff. I think that's the weekend I'm supposed to be going to Rosso. A tractor with a snowblower out on Hunter's Bay clearing the trail to the ice bungalows. Nice. Well, I guess it goes to show you. I assume a tractor is a little bit heavier than other stuff out there. Well, I wish you luck, Lana, with your operation out there. If you need a guy to film a video, send me a message. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, Jeff. Try out a bunch of different places, see where they're biting. I think of all the live streams I've done so far this year, I caught a perch the last one. That was it. Right on. Yeah, I agree with what Bernie says there. All the operators I know are good ones. Like I said, I don't think I've heard about any bad ones out there, so I only know the ones I know, though. Yeah, Sativa C. I will. I'll be sleeping all day long tonight or today. It's a whole different world figuring out how to sleep during the day, but I'm in a groove these days. Blackout curtains, melatonin, and a CPAP machine. That's my dream. Yeah, for sure, Lana. I will totally take you up on that. A night with the family for a review. I can definitely make that happen. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Lana. Jeff's asking what's the name of your outfitter rentals. So you're out on the reserve out there in Yellock, and I forget what you had. I was seeing the post on the. I'm still on the Yellock community post there, so I saw your post there. Outbound, outbound, and you're just getting started. David Johnson. If you're asking me how thick the ice is here, it's 15 inches. So everybody, I'm gonna have to wrap up this stream. And I'm in 14.5 feet. I'm gonna have to start fishing deeper. Maybe the next place I'll be going is gonna be. I don't know, I'm gonna try the south end of the lake. I think with my brother when he shows up, unless he wants to go to Yellock, since Lana says they're all biting out there. Lakebound, not outbound. Okay. yeah, the shifts I work, Bernie, are 10-hour shifts. Start at 10 p.m. and finish at 8. Yeah, it's quiet. I get to avoid a lot of, work-related drama, which is nice. And it works. It works well. It's just, you got to get used to it. All right. So have yourselves a good day. Sorry I didn't catch any fish. The fish weren't cooperating today, but whatever. If anybody's ever looking for another, I cook with Ice Hat. I'm out of them myself, but they are at Billy Bob's Baits, as well as some fishing lures out there. And I think one of my fishing books is there. I think they sold one of them. So thanks everybody for showing up. And have yourselves a great night. I would come join you tonight there, Lana, but on the job until Wednesday or Thursday. All right, everybody, have a great day. Enjoy being awake during the day, and I'm gonna go catch some Z's.